Hello and welcome to Estuary TV News with me, James Dunn. On tonight's show, the Gritters get ready for winter and our guest talks about the role of Humber trawler communities in the Great War. But first, here's Richard Morris with the news headlines.
Hello, in the headlines today, warmer than usual temperatures has made gritting call-outs across the region far lower than last year and new shops for Immingham Town Centre. Humberside Police is appealing for independent witnesses following an alleged assault at Tesco on George Street in Driffield. The alleged incident took place between 3:45 and 4 p.m. on Saturday. A woman ended up with bruising to her arm and a fall to the floor due to the alleged assault. Anyone with information is asked to contact Humberside Police or Crime Stoppers anonymously. The mild winter has made life much easier for gritters across the region this year. They've been out on just 5 runs so far this year across the 4 local authorities, Hull, East Riding, North and North East Lincolnshire. That's compared to 27 times by this time last year. But luckily the salt used to grit roads doesn't spoil, so any surplus can be carried forward. And it does mean that should there be another cold spell like the one in 2010, local authorities are well placed to deal with it.
The key for us is being prepared for when the weather does change. It's quite early in the season yet. We've only had one treatment of the road so far. Normally, we've had a couple more by this time, but it is a bit milder. But we are prepared, and this is what today's all about, just to let everybody know that we've got a good stockpile of salt here that will last should last us through the winter period, assuming we don't have a really extreme long spell of cold weather. So it's being prepared.
Her Majesty's Inspectorate of Constabularies has rated Lincolnshire Police as one of the best in the country for crime recording. It's been reported that the force is one of the top 5 in the country for managing its crime recording processes. Deputy Chief Constable Heather Roach said that this was down to the centralised victim-first approach to crime reporting. She also said that the direct reporting by the force into the Crime Management Bureau is also very good. 90 years ago today, the FA's first secretary, Ebenezer Cobb Morley, passed away. Morley was raised in Hull and is credited with being part of the founding group that wrote the laws of what we know today as football. And to some people in the city, Morley's memory is something that should never be forgotten, as a campaign group are trying to get a statue erected in his honour.
Particularly as we look forward to the 2017 City of Culture, I think we have to really push the people who have links with our fine city way, way more than we do. I think it's something generally we haven't done very well. And obviously with a specific link, specific interest in football, I think Ebenezer is a good starting point. And the KC, or wherever we decide to put it, we need a statue to represent this great man. And I think when people come from all around the country watching other teams, they will remember, oh yeah, Ebenezer Cobb Morley, that guy who founded football. There's a statue about him in Hull. Yeah, let's meet there. And it could become a real landmark for the city.
Lincolnshire Police have put out a request for anyone who's had property stolen from their car to come forward. A few weeks ago, we reported that a number of cars had been broken into around the Lincolnshire area, and some satellite navigation systems and car documentation has recently been seized by police. A TomTom and a Navman sat-nav have both been recovered by police, as well as an owner's manual for an Audi A3 Sportback. If you or anyone you know has had property like this stolen from your vehicle, then please contact Lincolnshire Police or the independent charity Crime Stoppers. The first in a new wave of new shops expected to regenerate Immingham has opened in the town this week. The store officially opened its doors on Tuesday after residents complained that there were not enough shops in the town. Pound Stretcher has filled a gap in the town after the delayed opening of the new Tesco store. It's the first of a number of shops to open as part of the regeneration of Kennedy Way Shopping Centre. Others due to open include B&M Bargains and Aldi. Malcolm Cullum, Mayor of Immingham, described the opening as a new start for the town.
Oh, a very good day. Yeah, we've been waiting for about 15 years for the precinct to be regenerated. And it's really good, and you can see by the amount of people who's here how excited the town people are. It's the first store of this complex, and we hope Tesco will come in the end, and of course Aldi and B&M, they're on the way, and will be open within 6 months, I hope, yes.
That's all from me. Bye for now.
Thank you, Richard. Now, next on the show, we heard earlier that it's been a quiet winter for local authority gritters so far, but they are prepared, although there's a different team for the fastest roads in the region, and when it gets cold outside, time is of the essence. I spoke to the people who deal with the highways when the frost bites. When a cold spell hits, looking after the region's fastest roads is a mammoth task.
Well, we've got approximately 1,100 kilometres of network which we look after, which covers the Yorkshire and Humberside area. If it snows, we can call on approximately 130 men to cover the whole area at any one time, so we've got it well covered.
Here at Broughton Depot, it's calm at the moment, but when the call comes, the team must be ready. It's a race against time to make the region's fastest highways safe, and they have to be on the road within 2 hours.
We do a week of primary call, a week of secondary call and a week off call. Primary is where you're on call for the gritting duties, which is any moment's notice, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. On a work day, we'll get called, go out into the network, plough and grit as needed all over the network. If it snows, it's what we enjoy, it's what we do, yeah, we look forward to it.
This new £550,000 silo has the tallest entrance in Britain, and it's a sign of the Highways Agency's commitment to safer roads.
Firstly, we use health and safety and winter maintenance are our key priorities, and keeping the network open, keeping the network running for our road users is a key. Economically for the area and for ourselves, we need to invest in the future, invest in the latest technology, invest in the latest products that we have available, and this is an example of investment for the Housing Agency.
The new salt barn, with it being the biggest doorway in the country, it means we can get the lorries in and out with the salt, tip straight away, out they go. A lot easier for us to get on the roads. And the process before was we'd have one man on day work putting the salt into the barn because the lorries can only tip at the entrance, where now the lorries can reverse straight into the barn, tip where we need, drive straight out. With having the doorway, it saves us a lot of time, a lot of manpower.
But it's not just the Highways Agency that bears responsibility for motorists' safety on the roads this winter.
Our key message is, we will do what we can to keep the roads open. That we would like the road users to do the little bit of preparation as well. That is by keeping the vehicles fit for purpose, tyres, etc. That type of thing, maintenance, and keeping a winter kit in the car ideally. Warm clothes, food, water, even a shovel, sturdy boots. If the worst was to happen, they've got some preparation. Check the weather forecast before travelling. The simple things, and just be prepared.
James Dunn, Estuary TV News. Next today, my guest is here to talk about a remnant from the Great War which is sadly rotting away in a far-flung corner of the globe. Dr. Rob Robinson from the Maritime Studies Centre at the University of Hull has written a book about the Viola, a hull trawler used during the Great War, now rusting in South Georgia. Hello Rob, thank you very much for coming in today.
Delighted.
Well, tell me a little bit about this ship, because I'm sure not many people have heard of it.
Well, when we think about the Great War, we tend to think about the trenches. If we think about the Great War at sea at all, then we tend to hear about dreadnoughts and Jutland. In fact, a flood tide of academic print and various popular books have been written about Jutland and dreadnoughts. But what we forget about is the war that took place just off our coast, day after day, week after week, month after month throughout the war. And that was a war that was largely fought by requisitioned trawlers from Hull, Grimsby and various other places, and fishermen. And their job was to keep the sea lanes open, to keep them free of U-boats and mines, etc. And these were trawlers that had been armed and sent off to war, basically. With
so normal guys, normal fishermen who did have normal ships, and then that changed.
Ordinary blokes working the normal work at sea suddenly plunged into extraordinary circumstances. And just one of these vessels survives. It's the steam trawler Viola. It was built back in Beverley in 1906. It used to work out of the Humber in what they call the North Sea boxing fleets. These were fleets of trawlers that supplied Billingsgate with London, with fish. And the Viola was one of these vessels. It sailed off, it was requisitioned. It sailed off to war in September 1914 with a crew from the Humber, was involved in many actions with U-boats, including the sinking of 2 of them, and has never returned from that voyage. So, but it's still around.
I mean, where is it now?
It lies at the island of South Georgia in the South Atlantic. South Georgia's hardly the centre of the universe. It's 3 days sailing from the Falkland Islands, and that's an 18-hour flight from Britain. So it's a long way away. And it lies at the ruined whaling station of Grytviken in South Georgia. It had a very long life that took it all the way down there. And I've tried to write about that in the book Viola, which tells you about the whole history of the ship from its time round here down to the time in the South Atlantic.
And of course, it also had some, albeit a small, involvement in another war.
Well, yeah, the Viola, as I said, played a major role along with its crews in the First World War, a significant role. But when we come to the Falklands War, by this time the vessel was laid up at South Georgia. And if you remember anything about the Falklands War, the spark for the Falklands War, for the conflagration, was the arrival of a group of Argentinian scrap metal merchants. And one of the things they were due to cut up was this little ship. But of course they raised the Argentine flag, and the rest is history. And in fact, after the Argentines captured the island, when it was retaken by the British forces, much of the action revolved in Cumberland Bay, quite close to where this ship lies. So you might say it's the only vessel to have seen action in both the Great War and the Falklands War.
And of course, this tiny boat, as you can tell, has played quite a significant part in history, and that there are some calls to bring it back, isn't it?
It would be great. I mean, what I've tried to do is talk about the various people who were involved with the ship, whose lives and livelihoods were involved with it. And this is really a tribute to those people.
It's being surveyed now, isn't it?
It is indeed. As we speak, there are a couple of ship surveyors who have been down in the South Atlantic having a look at the vessel to ascertain its current condition. It'll be several days, perhaps a week or two, before we get to know what the vessel's condition is like. But that might tell us 2 things. It might tell us that it's really not very easy at all to move the vessel anymore, or it might say that it's within the realms of practicability to move it. And if it is, we'd like to explore very strongly the idea of bringing it back, because this is a real icon of the Great War. If you think about it, this vessel sailed from the Humber with a local crew of fishermen to war in 1914, and it's never returned from that voyage. And we've got nothing like this to sort of represent the role that fishermen played in that Great War.
Be a great thing for City of Culture, wouldn't it?
It would be a fantastic thing for City of Culture. It would be a great thing for the Humber Estuary as a whole. And the book itself portrays something of that story because there are so many interesting people caught up with the ship, not just fishermen, but over the years, all sorts of people.
And it sounds like very much of an untold story, but of course, here you are, you've told it. Where can people get the book?
Well, you could get only 12 quid. Good Christmas present for anybody who likes a tale of the sea, and it can be obtained from most bookshops or from the various online sources that you can get them for. So it tells you quite a lot about the story, and it's very much laced with the flavour of the Humber and the area that it came from originally.
Thank you very much, Robin. And of course, there's some fantastic pictures in there that go with it as well. And I'm sure anyone who could get the book would really enjoy it.
Yeah, it's a feast of information.
Brilliant. Thank you very much for coming in today.
Thank you.
Well, I'm afraid that's actually all we've got time for in today's show. But please don't forget that if you've got any stories or views that you'd like to share with us, you can get in touch by calling us on Grimsby 31553. On Facebook or Twitter, search for Estuary TV, or email us on news@estuary.tv. Bye for now.